about to get real. Keep it live, that's right. From Pennsylvania to across the globe, it's time for the Steelers All-Star Show.
Welcome to the Steelers by the Lake podcast. My name is James Strong, joined once again by my co-hosts Cody Tanner, Nick Pretzel, and Jill from Ohio. How y'all doing on this Victory Monday, Biley?
It's definitely a Victory Monday.
Can I eat it now?
we watched a bunch of L's. That's what matters, and we'll get into that. I'm not going to go too far into it before we go this. But James, I'm doing all right. Jill, how are you?
Well, arguably, this is the best time of the year because hockey comes back, and Jill from Ohio is a big Blue Jackets fan. CBJ Boyos. I love it. I know, it's crazy. But
We'll let it slide.
Hockey and football, feeling great. Nick, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. Love watching all three division rivals fall deeper down to that in the rankings, so they can keep digging themselves that hole as long as they want. I'm going to be a happy camper. James, how are you this fine evening?
I'm doing well, man. It was nice wearing shorts all day long. I was mowing the lawn after work today in a tank top on, what is this, October 6th. It was 80 degrees out in Erie today. So just, can't be happier with it. The cold is coming, and that's already hit some of our opponents.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we are leading the North for sure. There's a lot of things to talk about today as far as those losses by the division. But before we go too far, James, let's talk Tampa Bay real briefly.
Let's do it, man. Bunch of thieves there. The Buccaneers, known for stealing whatever's on your boat and whatever's on your practice squad, apparently. Those punks stole Sebastian Castro, the safety that we were all very excited about this preseason. He was on our practice squad out of Iowa. Looked pretty promising. Thought maybe he might be able to be somebody that would be developed. Apparently, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers felt the same way. Stole him off the practice squad, put him on their active roster. And he actually dressed for Sunday's game. So we'll see what happens once he's been on their active roster for 3 weeks. That's the minimum requirement after stealing somebody off of a practice squad. So we'll see what they do with him. Maybe we'll get another shot to bring him back to Pittsburgh. That'd be nice, but kind of a real bummer. You know, we were all excited about him. That was somebody I was pretty happy to see Pittsburgh come away from the undrafted section of the draft with.
Yeah, and maybe there's a chance of getting some more tape on him too. This isn't necessarily a bad thing moving forward. Maybe we get some special teams action or some actual defensive play time, depending on. I'm assuming they have to have injuries. I'm not keeping up very well with the Tampa Bay Bucks, but if they brought in him, I'm assuming they have injuries in that safety room. So we'll keep an eye open on that. But then Steelers, in return from that situation, went and signed safety Jack Henderson to the practice squad. So they filled that role very, very quickly, which is what you expect. There's nothing surprising about that.
Yeah, it sounds like he's a journeyman, been on a few practice squads around the league already. And they brought in a few guys for tryouts, so Jack must have been the best of the group. So somebody they're at least familiar with through the pre-draft process and keeping an eye on him. Younger guy, I want to say he was like right around 6 foot, 210, so normal build.
Yeah, 6'2", 215, rookie from Minnesota. So he has not actively played for anybody up till this point. So who knows? Maybe he'll turn into something. Now we're going to kind of turn and talk Steelers through 4 weeks. We're going to break down how the team has gone and how the team has been. I guess that's a question. Or do we want to talk about this week and how the horrible the division was?
Now let's talk about the division, man. That's kind of an exciting thing. It couldn't have started the day off any better with another game in Europe with the Browns going to play Minnesota in England, and Minnesota coming away with that last-minute victory there. So the Browns lose in England. Fantastic. They're not of royalty anyway. They don't deserve to win over there.
Nope.
No, but arguably probably the better showing out of all of our division rivals. I mean,
by
the
far.
Game. I'm not gonna lie. I'm a little scared of the defense. It has me a little. I know they lost, but it has me a little nervous going into this upcoming week. But we'll save that for Saturday. We'll save my worries for that.
Well,
of the Browns defense.
Yes.
yeah.
They've looked very good in most of their performances. Now, I thought that they would have done a lot better against the Vikings, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
They had 3 sacks as a team. Pittsburgh had 6 versus the Vikings, but there were like 3 offensive linemen that got injured in the game versus Pittsburgh that were unable to go versus the Browns. The only starter they had left was Christian Darrisaw.
Mm-hmm.
And you could tell because Myles Garrett put a big old goose egg. So either he was playing against Darrisaw or he was just running away from him to play against the lesser guys like normal.
And Nick Herbig was lighting it up against Darrisaw. So, I mean, Nick Herbig better than Myles Garrett? I mean, who could say?
Very clear.
Very clear.
I don't know that I'm afraid of the Browns defense as much as I was afraid of the Bengals defense, which actually, for once, I thought looked decent. That game, to me, seemed to be more of a testament to how poorly Jake Browning is playing with those 3 interceptions. Turned into some points for the Lions there. I thought that some of the guys, like sophomore players, like I believe Miles Murphy is a sophomore or junior player for the Bengals there, who was tearing it up. Demetrius Knight, their rookie linebacker as well, was looking pretty good. So there were some plays there that I thought actually looked a little bit solid from their defense, which is not something I'm used to saying in recent years of the Bengals. But luckily, they don't have a quarterback right now, so.
Yeah, I mean, they don't have a quarterback. Even though we were worried about that defense, and yes, the picks allowed for easy points for Detroit. Detroit still put up 37 points. A lot of that scoring came just from the offensive side of the ball, moving the ball. So as good as Cincinnati looks on paper and with this defense, Detroit found a way to do it. And quite frankly, once a team does that, that's on tape. That is something we can now study. We have them in 2 weeks. We'll be able to watch it. You know that the defensive coordinator, those guys are going to come prepared, or offensive coordinator is going to come prepared with, hey, Detroit did this. It worked really well. Let's alternate this a little bit. Let's do that. But, I mean, Detroit put up 37 on them. Freaking Houston Texans put up 44 on the Ravens, who couldn't even put up barely double digit. Yeah, I mean, absolutely pathetic. The Ravens without Lamar are nothing. I think it's wildly impressive that Lamar didn't play and apparently isn't going to play moving forward. I thought that was a mild injury, if it was an injury. I saw a lot of people saying that he just quit on the team, and so very curious what's going to go on with that moving forward. And then again, the only thing I'm going to say about that Minnesota game is there was a very, very clear false start on the game-winning touchdown pass, but I don't care that it happened. So
I also wanted to make note that the Vikings didn't have a lot of big splash plays. It was a lot of short and medium plays that had a lot of rack yards afterwards, which to me bodes very well for Pittsburgh, because that seems to be a lot of Arthur Smith's style and a lot of what we can manage to do, especially if we can implement a lot of those bigger personnel packages that we did against Minnesota that opened up our run game. I don't anticipate us having too much of an issue on offense with what I saw put out there from Cleveland this week. If they put the same defense out there that they did last week, Pittsburgh's offense should eat against that crew next week.
I mean, they had more yards after catch, or they had almost a little over 50% of their receiving yards were yards after catch. So,
yeah, it's all about that second level for the Browns. Their rookie Carson Schwessinger having a nice season for him so far, but let's not understate the fact that they're starting Devin Bush. Mm-hmm. Devin Bush is a starting linebacker for this unit. That is definitely an exploitable matchup for Pittsburgh. So that I absolutely love. And then what's his name? That safety size middle linebacker. I don't think he's even played all season. So he's injured again. So I don't know that we.
JOK.
Yeah, we really haven't even played him in his entire career because he's hurt all the time, which is what happens when you're a 215-pound linebacker.
Right.
That's how it works.
So
the
realistically, dude defense, as James calls him.
Yeah, the dude wipes defense. So realistically, looking at this, I mean, Pittsburgh just went up a game technically in across the board in the division, and they're only a half game back from number 1 seed in the AFC with the Bills losing to New England, which again also makes us look pretty good that we beat New England, that they just beat the Bills.
Right.
So a lot of things going in the right direction and getting excited. Listen, I was just excited to potentially have a playoff game this year. If we win the conference or even in discussion of that, that is a massive W for this season.
Well, and I heard a stat that if we go 4-1 under Tomlin, if we start the season 4-1, we have won the division every time we've started 4-1.
Huh.
So to let history repeat itself, we need a big W at home against the Browns this upcoming Sunday. So,
well, and let's be honest too.
We have becomes the standard at that point.
It's true.
I'm okay with that statement at that point.
Yeah, and then I won't be afraid to say it, and Cody won't be rubbing his head, and we can lord it over him the whole week. But with what you said, Jill, look at who we've got going this week. We got us facing the Browns this week, which if we get the dub there, that puts us a game ahead of them and gives us the division win.
Right.
Then the Ravens, most likely without Lamar, playing the Rams this week, who are no slouch. I mean, I don't remember who the Bengals have this week, but it's a good outlook for us in the near future here.
Yeah. Like if we
Bengals play Green Bay in Green Bay.
Okay, Packers, yeah. Well, but I mean, the Browns
Let's go Pack.
Bay and they beat the Packers. You know what I mean? Like football is so weird because what looks good on paper or what we think could be an easy game always turns up to not be easy. And we could be 1, 2, 3 injuries away from where all of our opponents are at, knock on wood. But
and one thing that I would like to point out to your point there, Jill, is that's where we were at the start of the season. I don't feel bad for these teams they're losing horribly left and right now. That's what Pittsburgh was the beginning of the season. Our starting rookie defensive lineman, who was to be the answer to the run stopping issues that we had, got injured in the preseason and didn't play till week 4, which imagine that is when the run defense started looking a lot better. No coincidence. Deshaun Elliott, who was the answer at the safety position, injured week 1. Right. Jalen Ramsey was going to play safety back there with him, but he couldn't do that because of Joey Porter Jr. getting injured week 1. It was almost like 4 starters going down either in the preseason or week 1, and we didn't start getting pieces back until week 3 and 4. So Pittsburgh's already been going through this and is 3-1.
Mm-hmm.
We've been without 3 starters, 4 starters on defense almost every single week.
Which I feel like also points back to a lot of our discussion from the preseason of look at our depth on the defensive side of the ball. Like we have got so much defense. The fact that like a lot of our practice squad was from within our 90-man, like speaks to the depth and the belief that we have in the guys that we're putting back there. So I don't, you're right. I don't feel bad either. I'm just, humble check of like, yeah, we're 3-1, but football is the NFL is crazy, and at any point,
any given Sunday,
like that's why I'm like, there's no game that you can take lighthearted. Like you got to come in every game and earn your win.
Yeah.
And to Cody's point about the Patriots too, like they were without Gonzalez for our game, and they, I believe, have him back now against the Bills. That's a division game there, so that kind of speaks to your point as well, Jill. Like we had a slightly injured Patriots team there that we were going up against, and the divisional aspect of that game. So again, like you said, we could have a tough matchup against the Browns just because they are a division opponent. But if we can exploit the weaknesses that we can get from the film and take advantage of a rookie quarterback who looked pretty good, but also now has a full game of tape out there that we can use to our advantage, hopefully we can come out with a win in the division there and continue to propel that momentum through the rest of the season, because it's a long rest of the season with this early bye week, that's for sure.
I'll tell you one thing I love about this matchup, Nick, is that having this quarterback for the Browns, we've seen a lot so far this season already with Steelers defenders getting a hand on the quarterback and it being a bigger, stronger guy who's able to stay up and throw the ball away. A lot of them just ending up incomplete passes, and some of them even we got last week an intentional grounding but it doesn't go down as a sack for that player, which really sucks. Dylan Gabriel's listed at 5'11", 205. He's not even close to 205. This dude's like 195 at best, and that's probably with sand in his pockets. So this is a very, very small quarterback. And this is somebody that even if Nick Herbig, who's our smallest pass rusher, gets one hand on him, he's going down. So when Keanu Benton and Derek Harmon and Cam Hayward get in there and just get like a couple fingers on the outstretch of their arm on this dude, he's going down. He's not going to get away from it. So this could be a game where you get a lot of sacks. Now they're going to move him. He's not going to sit back in the pocket. There's going to be a lot of bootlegs, a lot of play action, a lot of him throwing while on the run. But I like the speed of our outside linebackers to just shoot up the arc and not give them those lanes to do that.
Yeah.
So,
Well, and the benefit we've seen from the interior defensive line performing better in the run game is going to allow those outside linebackers to not have to commit run, not have to commit on those handoffs.
Yeah.
You can actually take a second and potentially prioritize the quarterback in that situation. Imagine faking a handoff to the left to the left and then rolling back to the right and meeting TJ Watt face to face. I mean, it's not going to be a good day. There's a chance we see Shador Sanders in this game. Well, that's a chance we see Joe Flacco in this game. If Gabriel gets hit a little too hard, because we know that TJ is not afraid of hitting guys. We saw that before, hitting Justin Fields in week 1. And so
I loved that hit.
I loved it. It was just a, hey, I'm here. It was a wake up call. Like, I'm not, yes, we were teammates last year. This is still football and I'm trying to win. And so I'm excited to see what can happen, but let's not get too far. We could talk this Browns game all day long.
Right.
And that's going to be for Saturday. We're here to talk about this bye week and where Pittsburgh stands through 4 weeks, technically 5. But James, we crunched some numbers, and let's talk about where Pittsburgh could potentially be at the end of the season with some of these team players and their stats, projection wise.
Yeah, absolutely. So we just kind of projected out where they've been after 4 weeks versus where that would put them at the end of the season. So say, for example, if Aaron Rodgers continued at the pace that he's currently at, he would throw for 3,340 yards, which is not a huge amount of yards, but more significantly, it would be 34 touchdowns to 12.75 interceptions, round up or round down, however you like. I'll take that. That's basically like a 3-to-1 ratio.
Yeah.
So that's fantastic in my book. I would be very happy with that. We could look it up, but I don't know when the last time we had a quarterback threw 34 touchdowns in a season. I'm sure it was Ben. So it's at least 5 or 6 years ago. I don't think we've had one quarterback come even remotely close to that since. Probably the best was Russ last year, throwing like the 15 or 16 or whatever he ended up with. Because I don't think Kenny Pickett made it to double digits in his years.
2018.
There you go.
2018, it was exactly 34 touchdowns, and it was the year that Ben threw for over 5,000 yards.
Yeah. And honestly, those teams did not have the red zone efficiency that we have now. Joe, that's something you wanted to talk about a little bit, wasn't it?
Yes, we were talking about bright spots of this team and like what we're looking forward to. And one of the things that I really love about the Steelers offense is we're actually converting points in the red zone, which in prior years has been one of the most frustrating aspects watching Steeler football, is getting within the 10 yards and not being able to punch it into the end zone. And so we, through 4 games, are 10 for 12 in the red zone, which I love to see that stat. We were trying to look up, and I don't know if we can, what that compared to last year, but it's exponentially better in our favor. And so that's been nice to see some confidence of like, once we're actually in the red zone, like we will make points out of this. And I think, James, you had said it was like 7 out of 8, and that was just touchdowns after 3.
Yeah.
So the 10 out of 12 is 9 of them are touchdowns and 1 is a field, or no, 2 of them are field goals and 8 of them are touchdowns. So
yeah, and the ones that aren't converted are a blocked field goal, which is really kind of a fluke thing, an interception off of a tipped pass, also a fluke thing. So yeah, just tremendous at the rate that they're being, and that it's making all the difference in the world. We're not winning by 2-3 scores. We're winning by 3 or 4 points in these games. So that makes all the difference in the world when you're converting at such a high rate in the red zone. And they're finally using the guys with size to their advantage. You know, we're seeing these 2-point conversions to Darnell Washington and 50-50 balls going to DK Metcalf, who's the biggest, strongest receiver in the NFL. Like, that's the kind of stuff we weren't seeing before. We weren't seeing these fade balls in the end zone. And I felt like it was a very underused part of the red zone offense with the weaponry that's there. And we still haven't even seen it all. You know, we haven't really seen a lot of usage of Pat Fryermuth and Jonnu Smith in the red zone yet, other than the one like shovel pass to Jonnu that went for a touchdown. I think that was one of the ones week 1. But I think there's still a lot more to be exploited in those guys in the red zone in the passing offense.
Yeah. 48.2% touchdown red zone efficiency last year. So
compared to the 69.2 this year.
Well, and I think a lot of that too is we were talking about as well is that Pittsburgh is one of the least penalized, if not, I believe the least penalized overall in the league right now.
We're one game short. Like, we probably would have got a penalty had we played.
Sure.
But yeah, Pittsburgh has, if I'm not mistaken, 19 penalties compared to the next best team is the Falcons with 21. So
yeah, so it's a little skewed with one less game, but still very good.
Still one of the least, and again with the bye, but the Falcons are also on bye this week. So
Okay.
look at that. We're finding new things.
So I mean, when they both are on bye week, they both can't play the game. So I mean, arguably with that in mind, the least penalized team in the league, that converts itself into efficiency on offense. When you're not getting yourself behind the sticks, when you're not giving the other team opportunities on defense to move the ball down the field as well with mistakes with your unit. I think a lot of that comes with a lot of these younger guys becoming more experienced and understanding the team and gelling together. You see the line performing a bit better over last week, and hopefully that continues to move forward.
Yeah.
So as long as they continue to gel and don't make silly mistakes and draw penalties like Ramsey against the Jets and Skoranek against, I believe it was the Vikings this last week, you can pull some penalties that benefit you as well, and then kind of have that go on both sides of the ball in your benefit.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Speaking of our benefit, before we go too far into this, if you want to benefit your stomach a little bit, make sure you go check out the Edinburgh Hotel Bar.
There it is.
Supporters of Steelers by the Lake podcast include the Edinburgh Hotel Bar, serving a variety of lunch and dinner items every day from their location at 100 Meadville Street in downtown Edinburgh. Information is available at 814-734-5103 or online at edinburghhotelbar.com. The Edinburgh Hotel Bar, where you had me at hotel.
It's a great place. We will not be there for the Browns game. Myself, nobody. We're going to be traveling to Columbus, Ohio to say hello to Jill and watch some football with her at Gresso's.
So excited.
So we'll be excited for that as well. She just found out before the show that we
literally.
She's a little pumped up.
I'm very pumped up.
Very pumped up. Let's chat running backs real quick. Kenneth Gainwell is actually leading the team in rushing yards right now, which is wild. He's on pace for a measly 654 yards. That doesn't sound good when you think of a running back rush yards. You're looking for that 1,000-yard rusher. But as far as being a committee of running backs, Jalen's on pace for 561. That would put us over 1,000 as a team. You'd still like to see that a little bit higher. But Jalen, no rushing touchdowns on the season so far. Kenneth Gainwell's on pace for 12, 13. Again, that rounding issue. Very interesting to see how it feels like the running game is slowly improving. So I'm sure those numbers will increase. But intriguing that Kenneth Gainwell's out rushing Warren. I mean, Warren does have one less game. So there's that.
Yeah.
And of course, it was the game we rushed the best in.
I think it'll balance itself out as the season goes on. I wouldn't be surprised for it to end up more in the 800 to 900 for Warren and Gainwell being closer to 350 or 400. Because I do expect Warren to get the bulk of the carries once he's fully healthy again. But it was a smart move to rest him. Why rest him? Gainwell's a capable guy. They needed to get Caleb Johnson on the field anyway. They need to start him by next week for my preseason prediction to come true. That's not looking very good at this point.
It's okay, James. Neither is mine, so.
Yeah. We were all reminiscing before the show at some of our bold predictions not looking great a little bit early on in the season. But
what did I have? Tight ends getting some crazy amount of touchdowns that they haven't even got yet. Yeah.
Oh, well, you had like 7 people going over 500 yards receiving.
Yeah.
I can find it if you guys can fill time.
Yeah, no, we got that. Well, let's talk about the receiving yards. We're there right now. DK's on pace to have 1,100 yards, and the same thing, 12 or 13 touchdowns, which is great for DK. I mean, that's a solid year. But after that, it gets really quiet. I mean, Jaylen Warren is the second leading receiver on the team, and he's on pace for 603 yards and 4 receiving touchdowns. And then you have Calvin Austin on pace for 590, just shy of 600 yards and 10 touchdowns. So, you'd expect one of these massive tight ends that we have to be in that top 3. Realistically, I would love to see 2 receivers there and a tight end. I think the addition of Jaylen Warren to that top 3 list is both a shout out to his expertise in the receiving game and yards after catch that way, but it's a massive hit to the fact that we are not including our tight ends in this passing game at all.
Absolutely. I think it's more of a negative sign than a positive. I agree with you, Cody. Nowhere near enough usage with the tight ends, nowhere near enough usage with the other wide receivers beyond DK Metcalf.
Yeah.
And realistically, is Jaylen Warren not there if it wasn't for the 65-yard catch and 5 broken tackle play? Like, that's like a once every 3 or 4 years kind of play right there.
Right.
And without that, he's not even in that top 3. So,
yeah.
And after that, it would be Jonnu Smith, just to clarify, and he would be at around 400 yards on pace for right now.
Yeah. I mean, I do want to see our tight ends get some more receiving. I feel like, and we talked about this last week about what the stats won't show is how, if our receiver's not receiving it, they're blocking it. Like Calvin Austin is so valuable to the team because without him blocking, we wouldn't have gotten that touchdown, right? Our tight ends do such a good job in the block aspect of the game, but we want to see the same with the receiving. Like we saw success when we hit Darnell Washington at like the 30-yard line. I was like, wow, look at this. Like, this is so nice. Target a tight end in the middle of the field. How can I see that? But nobody else see that. But I do feel like we're seeing them at least be active and like contributing in a positive manner that just stats aren't showing.
Yeah.
The only other for bold predictions, I've got them in front of me.
1 second, because I want to address this. The only other kind of hidden stat that would affect the yards thing is the fact that our defense has been producing many turnovers and giving us short fields.
Yeah, that's
that is a part of it, for sure. But yes, I'm ready for these preseasons.
All right, so here we go. We're going to start with Jill's because I've got her at the top of the list here. So Jill's first prediction was the team has 50 sacks and TJ gets 23.
Okay.
They're on pace for the 50.
There's still some hope.
Yeah, and TJ's ramping his game up the last.
And TJ gets to play the Browns twice still. So
and I don't think they have either starting offensive tackle.
And the Nerds Bengals, whose offensive line is also not good.
Okay, so
yeah, there's still hope for this one.
TJ could have a 5-sack game this year. I'm just saying.
I have some that are completely dead already. So yeah, hope for this one.
Well, the next one for me is dead.
Lift total
tight ends.
Oh no, that one's fine.
Tight ends with a total double-digit touchdowns.
Yes.
All the tight end rooms.
Yeah.
So you got one so far, right? Johnny's got one?
Yep, Johnny's got one.
All right. So there's still hope on that one. It's a little late right now. Win at least 11 games and all the home games. So,
well, not the home game part.
The 11's got a shot. I think it's got a real good shot, but we lost our only home game.
We lost our home, which is so funny to me because, like, we're winning all the away games. Yeah. Technically, I know Ireland was like technically a home game, but like you still have to travel. Like it wasn't just being in your own backyard kind of thing. So I'm like, defend your home territory, but at least you're showing out away, I guess. Anyway,
Cody, you're next, buddy.
Oh, great.
We got 7 players with 500 plus receiving yards, and
we're on pace for 3.
All of these guys are so low in numbers. I think there's a chance of that one hitting. I thought that was a crazy one when you said it, but I think there's a chance of it. Pittsburgh leaves the AFC North in total team rushing yards.
There's a chance. Hold on. Now I gotta look that up.
Not likely at the moment.
I'm not so sure on that. We're gonna beat the Bengals because they have like 7 rushing yards on the season right now. They're horrific.
Crenshaw Judkins has been looking pretty good.
Yeah, the Browns are running the ball pretty well, and I think the Ravens are running the ball a decent amount too. So that one might be a tough one.
When they're not playing.
Okay. The Ravens are at 578.
Yeah.
The Browns are at 479.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh is at 320. and the only team less than us is the Bengals at 285.
Yeah.
There's still time. There's still time.
That could change in a game. That could change in a game right now.
There's a lot
and that's 285 in 5 games for them too.
That's also
they're all a game ahead of us right now. So factor that.
So hang on. Wait, let me look at yards per game because that'll be a more accurate depiction right now.
That does bring it a little bit closer for us, and it makes it way worse for the Bengals.
So 115, 115 yards per game for the Ravens. 95.8 for Cleveland, 80 for us.
Okay, well,
57.
And the Ravens did struggle to run the ball without Lamar. So I mean, there's a chance.
Derrick Henry's a fumble
there's
machine
a
chance.
Right now. So you're telling me there's a chance?
Got to get Derrick Henry back in the weight room. He's getting too small. He's dropping the ball like crazy.
He is. It's not good. It's not good for him.
Next one for Cody.
Oh, tight ends.
Defense allows 20 or less touchdowns all season.
Well, we're getting near that number now.
It was rough at first there.
All right, so that was your 3.
Okay.
Then Nick, we got Darnell Washington with 10 plus touchdowns.
Going strong.
Can we count the 2-point conversion?
Right?
I mean, he got in the end zone.
Catches in the end zone. Catches in the end zone. He needed to clarify.
yeah. I think he gets one. Highsmith with 15 sacks. He's got what, 1?
I think it's 1. Yeah.
I think he had 1 in either the first game or the second game. There's still a chance on that. And then your third one, Roman Wilson leads all wide receivers in receptions.
There we go. Hey, Calvin Austin's out this week. He might get his shot. Maybe he just goes off and then he's the wide receiver 1. You don't know.
Roman Wilson has 1 catch.
Hey. Yeah. I think there's a good chance that he gets to see the playing field quite a bit more this week, but Rodgers needs to throw it his way.
Yeah.
Or that one's going to be rough.
Yeah, and he talked about him in camp, so hopefully
it was a distraction.
I mean, realistically, we're not running 3 wide receiver sets very often right now. No. So, the third wide receiver is
literally maybe 5% of a game is 3 wide receiver set.
Yeah, it's just not really happening. So here comes mine, which are
I'm ready.
First one, Y.A. Black leads the team in pass breakups, which I believe he has 0 on the season thus far. So that's not looking fantastic. My second one was Caleb Johnson, starts week 6. I was expecting him to look good the first 4 weeks and then get the start after the bye. Unfortunately, he looked real bad after the first couple weeks and is starting to regain confidence, but I don't see him getting the start in the game against the Browns. So that is not likely to happen. And then my last one, I had both Zach Frazier and Troy Fautanu getting their first Pro Bowls.
I like that one. I still like that one.
That's my best shot.
Yeah. But it's
very interesting.
That's a good It's so funny to think, like, what were we thinking back?
We definitely had a lot more faith in the defense across the board.
Well, they've been hurt too, though. Like when one guy comes in, somebody else goes out. So if they stayed healthy, then maybe. But I mean, at this point, they just haven't.
And speaking of the defense, Watt is on pace for 12 sacks, so not quite 23. Jill,
I need him to
ramp it up. Keep ramping it up.
Herbig is on pace for 10 sacks, which would be nice. It'd be his first time in the double digits. Ramsey's on pace for 17 pass breakups. And Cam Hayward is on pace for 12, 13 pass breakups. So real excited to see these guys kind of get involved. A couple guys on pace for 4 interceptions. It would get us a really high number. I think like 20 interceptions or something, which would be pretty good as a team. But nothing too crazy there. A lot of guys are just having 1 right now. So, I mean, let's talk. James?
Yeah, those are both things I wanted to talk about after 4 games. So that's not including anything that happened week 5 so that it was an even playing field for everyone. Pittsburgh as a team was number 2 in the entire NFL in sacks. and number 2 in the NFL in forced turnovers as well. So the defense quietly really coming on strong in weeks 3 and 4, especially with those turnovers produced and those sacks in those 2 games, really trending upwards. No coincidence at all, in my opinion, that was Derek Harmon coming back week 3 and really helping out with that interior push, which then allows the outside linebackers to run up the arc and the quarterback's actually there because he can't step forward because Cam Hayward and Derek Harmon are there. So making all the difference in the world. And then week 4, we saw the breakout game for Keanu Benton. Again, him doing the same thing, getting that penetration up the middle. That allows TJ Watt to get on the board, Nick Herbig to get on the board. So it's really coming together with those guys. And then that last game with Deshaun Elliott, man, you don't know how much you miss somebody until they come back and play that good. Yeah. And he was even saying, like, I saw an interview that he said that he wasn't even close to 100%. And if you saw him trying to do the Irish jig after his interception, he was only doing it with one leg because he couldn't really bend his knee very well on the other side. That's where he was at in the healing process. And he had a sack, a forced fumble, and an interception in that game.
Well, and to your point about turnovers and everything, Pittsburgh, with being one of 4 teams right now, there's only 4 teams that I think had bye weeks so far, and it was all this past week. Mm-hmm. We're still second in turnover differential behind only the Jacksonville Jaguars, which is weird.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Fantastic. And that goes to a lot to just not making the mistakes on offense. It's been frustrating. I feel like it's been like feast or famine. Either the drive's fantastic, it goes all the way down the field and we score a touchdown, or it's a 3 and out. And there hasn't been a whole lot of in between.
Does the Caleb Johnson does that in the end zone, does that count as a turnover? It's a fumble recovery. It's not a fumble recovery. It's just.
It depends on if they ruled it as he touched it or not. Because otherwise it's an onside kick technically,
Really long one.
A really, really long one, yeah. So I don't know if that scores as a turnover or not.
I just had that question.
I'm not sure. Yeah. I never really looked. I was too mad to look and see what they're.
I don't blame you one bit.
Because I was like, you know what? If we lose either way, either it's a fumble or it's an onside kick. And either way, it's their ball and it's their touchdown. So it doesn't matter. I was just mad about the whole thing. But the other thing that I thought really stuck out after 4 weeks was that Aaron Rodgers was tied for 3rd in passing touchdowns in the NFL. Granted, that was 8 passing touchdowns. There was a number of other people. I want to say it was at least 5 or 6 other quarterbacks that also had 8 passing touchdowns after 4 weeks. But only 2 guys were better, and one had 9 and one had 10. So it's not like there's a dude with 14 or 16 touchdown passes when Rodgers only had 8. He's literally throwing touchdowns at a rate that is competing with the highest quarterbacks in the NFL right now. Yeah. So just been a long time since we could say anything like this. Even in the sack category, really, Pittsburgh has not been highly producing in sacks the last couple of years. They've been really good in producing turnovers, not sacks. Mm-hmm. It's been a few years. Mm-hmm. Cody and I had the pleasure when we started this podcast.
Yep.
Pittsburgh went on a tear for like 5 years in a row. They led the NFL in sacks.
Yeah.
We were spoiled during that time.
Every year it was if we got 60 sacks this year, we'd shave our heads, and we never.
Yep. Yeah, I think we got like 58 and 57 a couple of times. It got real close. That's like the standing thing, I didn't make that bet at the beginning of the year, but I'll still do it if they had 60.
Okay, that's fair.
I won't, but
I was gonna say, Jill, we get Jill in on this?
No.
What about Jill, half the head, Jill, or like the undercut in the back? We could get something.
Yeah,
you can cover that up. Yeah, come on.
No, absolutely not.
All right, we'll get your friends at Gresso's to peer pressure you and do it. It's fine.
They won't. They'll try. I do not give way to peer pressure. I'll be like, yeah, okay.
Bravo.
Got a girl.
Bravo. I don't know if there's anything else you guys want to talk about. That kind of went over to the notes we had for the show.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I feel like at least we're heading in the right direction. Mm-hmm. Like sitting at the bye week, I feel like not all the way confident, but I feel like good. Like every week, I feel like we're actually getting better. Like we're seeing our run game come to life. We're seeing our run defense come to life. Like the defense is coming and looking better, whereas in seasons past it would just be plateau. It's like, here we go with the same bull crap again, just facing a different team, where it's like I feel like we're making changes and actually applying it and going up instead of being plateau or falling to the wayside. So that has me feeling positive after 4 weeks. So I'm excited.
Sounds like we're going to get a couple guys back injury wise too.
Yeah.
I was
The
just about to
rumor
bring
is
that
that
up.
Alex Highsmith says he's going to be ready to go. Joey Porter Jr. says he's going to be ready to go. And then we still have the excitement of who's going to be the 53rd man on the roster.
Right.
Pittsburgh's left that open for a couple weeks now.
Yep.
Will they decide that they need to bring one of these corners up, whether it be Dante Kent, who does have return man experience? So there is a possibility of that. Corey Trice, these guys are both on the IR. And then we've talked about this for a few weeks now, the possibility of Will Howard coming back. So I think those are the three most likely candidates, bringing one of these three guys back from the injured reserve. We'll see, though. We'll see. We'll have news for you on Saturday when we do our next show.
Yeah.
One
coming up real quick.
unusual bye week thing too is Tomlin gave the team the week off this week, which is unusual for the bye week. I heard through the grapevine, I don't remember what source it was from, but someone was saying that it had a little bit to do with, Rooney really saying, hey, this Dublin game means a lot to us. So the team bringing home that win, they gave him a little bit of R&R, which I think really, to James's point, benefited some of those guys that were injured to be able to take extra time off, not have to get a little bit extra wear and tear of trying to go out and be a limited participant in practice. Just go out, take it easy. And hopefully we'll see some of those guys come back because we could sure use them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and let's hope they get some good practice in this week. That's going to wrap up today's show. We thank you guys so much for being here. Like we said a couple times, we will be having a show again Saturday in preparation for the Browns game, which is, I believe, in Pittsburgh. If I'm not
It is
mistaken.
in Pittsburgh.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So very excited for that. So can't thank you guys enough. Be sure to like and follow on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Subscribe, ring the bell. It's free. Doesn't cost you a thing. Don't forget the 5-star reviews on Apple Podcasts. Make James very happy. And until next time, this is your host, James and Cody, Nick, Pretzel, and Jill from Ohio, signing off.
Peace.